Okay, guys, I've been sitting on this for a few days, and just because I don't like to do these all super back to back and stuff like that, I like there to be some diversity, and especially considering the fact that I had some other videos I wanted to promote on social media. But this account followed me late last week, earlier this week, and I started taking some snapshots, and things just felt a little off. While there are over 100 posts that this account has, one of the things that really kind of tipped me off is that they have got 58.2 thousand followers, but they only follow back less than 500, and that just screams weird for me. They follow several people that I follow, but I don't know, something just felt off. So I started doing some digging on this particular account. So I went back through the photos, and this is the earliest one that was posted by this account, August 9th of 2020. Okay, so the account's been around for a while. But what bothers me is the fact that the caption is done in Russian Cyrillic, and that usually for me is a tripwire saying this may not be on the level. Because as I was scrolling through several of the posts going back up to the more recent stuff, the vast majority of these posts are all in Russian until you get to like the last, I don't know, say 10 or so, and then they switch over to English. And not entirely sure why that is. This person has simply tried to follow me. They did not engage with me through any kind of chat, unsolicited chat, but this struck me as odd. This was the most recent one. It says it's from 2 days ago, but this is like, at this point, like almost a week ago, I guess, because of when I started taking the snapshots and all that. This account is in English. I don't even know if they did an actual review on this book. There's no link for any platform that I see on the account. It just gives the name of the book and who authored it. So they're not taking credit, but at the same time, I have no idea. And this just looks like, I don't know. It doesn't look like they've actually done any of the reading. And I think had I followed them and they reached out to me, they probably would have tried to pitch me on some kind of promotional services. So I ignored it and I deleted it. All right, so I deleted the notification that the account had tried to add me, but I didn't realize that there was this unsolicited message. And so it reads, "Hey Garrett, I hope you're well. I've just discovered your book and am excited to share my thoughts and ratings on social media. Would you be open to me reviewing it? Please let me know if we can proceed. Best regards, Bookstagram Girl." It doesn't even use a real name, just says Bookstagram Girl. That is really, really sus. And so I put it back into my primary inbox, not the requests, and so I responded to it. I can't believe I just used the word sus. But anyway, this is how I responded. "Which book did you discover?" And I actually had to wait several hours. And again, I apologize for sound quality, that crumpling or crashing sound. That is my cat going nuts. He had a lot of catnip yesterday at Christmas. Anyway, so I responded, and I had to wait a few hours for a response with regards to my question here, asking which book, because I've got several books at this point. So I waited almost 3 hours before I got a response, and she responds with Midnight Playground, which is my newest book, and that would make sense that that's the one that she's trying to pitch. And so this is my response. "If you want to review the book, be my guest. It's available on paperback, Kindle, and audiobook. I don't pay for reviews because I have no guarantee that I'm receiving genuine, authentic, and objective feedback on my work." And this is true. This is my stance on any of these things. And anybody who has seen my posts on similar interactions will know that that's where I stand. Sorry, I'm playing fetch with my cat. He got a little pet mouse for Christmas. Anyway, so this is my stance. And at the same time, I'm saying, hey, if you want to, go for it. You want to review it, be my guest. I'm not going to pay you to do it, but you can pick up a copy. The cheapest version of the book is on Kindle. So then about, this was at just before 10 o'clock, just after 1:30 in the afternoon. Several hours later, she responds with, "Sure, no problem." That's the last I hear of it. I block the account. But then this same day that this is all happening, I get I get someone else trying to add me, doing something similar. And so this is what it looks like. So this account right here liked my picture of Midnight Playground, promoting it, being out on all platforms, and then followed me. And this all happened when I was interacting with the previous account, Kathleen_media. Maybe that's 2 underscores. I can't really tell on the spacing. But, okay, cool. So I went and immediately checked my requests folder on my DMs, and I found this. So here's the account. Things seem a little bit more balanced, following over 1,300 people. Has less than 500 followers, has made over 100 posts, offering a writing service, has a link for Fiverr that seems legit. I actually clicked on the link and it goes actually to Fiverr. So it's not like some scam account, but who knows? And then this account says, "Sometimes I wonder what the world would be like without writers. No stories to inspire us, no books to escape into, no words to move our hearts." And you know what? That's a pretty good sentiment to have. So I started looking at some of the other posts. So this is the earliest one that I found, from October 11th of this year. And it's, doing this nice little promotional graphic for this book called Stardusted by El Dieso. Okay, cool. This was the most recent graphic. This says it was from 6 days ago. Keep in mind, this was like earlier this week when I saw this, so this was posted last week. And it says, "This Christmas, remember, stories don't market themselves. Authors who show up quietly win loudly." I guess that's how it goes. I don't know. I'm not great with marketing. But so basically it sounds like she's offering marketing services, not reviews or anything like that, but marketing services. But what strikes me as odd about this is that the account has only been available since October. And so in about 2.5 months or so, this person has racked up quite a number of followers, or is following a lot of people, but not having a lot of followers. And I don't know how much business they're actually doing. It's hard to say. But this was the form letter I got from this account on my DMs. "Hello, Garrett. I'm hoping this is the right time to reach out. I've just been connecting with authors whose work genuinely inspires me, and your name came up while I was exploring titles. I'm Kathleen. I spend most of my time helping authors market their work and their stories and all that. What I really love is seeing how a story's mood translates into something readers can feel before they even read the first line. If you ever want to chat about the visual side of storytelling, or you're curious about how others are presenting their books lately, I'd love to share a few ideas. Warmly, Kathleen." And okay, this is a pretty well-written form letter. However, something right off the bat, I can tell that this is a very generic one because they don't even know anything about my book. So this was my response. "I appreciate your interest, but I currently work with a graphic artist for all my book covers, and I'm very loyal." Because there was a request in that about doing book covers and trailers and stuff like that. "As far as trailers go, all my books already have trailers, and I do my own character designs through 3D modeling." Because those were the things that she was actually talking about doing, not marketing or promoting or anything like that, but 3D trailers and visual content for my books. I said, "Just out of curiosity, how did you come across my account? Did another author suggest you reach out, or were you searching for indie authors?" And that's a very important distinction, because the way that her initial message made it sound is that someone suggested or someone told her that she should reach out to me and connect with me and try and sell me on her services. So I was curious. I wanted to know. So it took about a couple of hours before I heard back, but this was the response I got. Thanks for taking the time to get back. Glad to hear you have a good handle on all that. However, I offer a full suite of author services apart from trailers, covers, and other promotional content. I also help with Goodreads promotions, Amazon audits, ads and SEO, and also meta ads. If you'd be interested in looking at these options, or you have another strategy or you want to look at, weird grammar there, I'd be glad to work you through the process. I had been very clear. I was not interested in any of her services. And the fact that she's pushing additional services on me without me asking about them, that is really fishy for me. So this is how I respond back. Oh, before I get on to how I responded, she also added a couple more messages. Like she followed up by saying, and how I came across your page, as I said, I was exploring titles on Instagram search engine and your profile popped up as suggested. Well, for one, unless you know the title of my book, it's not going to just auto-populate. So, you'd have to be very specific typing in Midnight Playground, or unless you know my name, it's not going to pop up. That's not how a search engine works. You could type in indie authors and any hashtags that are connected to them, and that probably would have populated because I do use the indie author hashtag, but that's about the size of it. So unless you actually know the title, doing a search on the title, that's kind of BS. So then she adds this other comment, and then you can see my response below. She says, and that's a good sign that you have better visibility on search engine. Not on a search engine or on the Instagram search engine, but on search engine. So I'm thinking English is not a primary language here. So I respond back saying, I don't pay for reviews on Amazon or Goodreads, so I'm holding back on that stance again. And I misspelled and mistyped, and as far as the ads and SEO, I've got that covered because I can do that easily from home. If I want to run an ad, I can pay for it, and that's not an issue. And the conversation continues. She says, I wasn't talking about paid reviews because I know it violates Amazon rules. What I meant is promoting your book to readers mostly interested in your book type and urging them to make a purchase on Amazon and leave a review. Same strategy I use for Goodreads. It's a proven strategy I've been using for authors, and it's been working brilliantly well. And so I said, and which of my titles did you look up? Because she hasn't actually said which title. So I'm curious which of my titles she was actually searching for on the Instagram search engine. And she says this. So she finally answers by saying, I was really searching under indie authors, exploring titles like mystery, thriller, and other book genres, and Instagram suggested your profile as well. And then she said, Midnight Playground to be precise. That was the content that popped up. That's the first content that anybody sees on my profile because those are my pinned images on my account. Those are my pinned posts, my pinned videos, my pinned reels, whatever. Of course, you're going to find Midnight Playground first because that's what I've been talking about for almost a year now. But let's continue with this conversation, shall we? So even though I don't ask for it, she sends me back a message saying, I have a Google portfolio website that showcases my work. You can check my bio. And I've worked with many authors helping with visibility and sales. So I responded with, what did you learn about Midnight Playground? This is an important question because this means they've actually done their homework. They're actually willing to pitch me on something that is geared specifically towards selling and promoting my book in a way that is actually real, that is actually organic, and will actually get me some sales. And this right here, this response that I get from her, is the crux of my problem. She says about that, I haven't actually looked into it, but I'm interested in knowing more about the book because I see it's kind of really dark and could have some suspense and all of that if I'm correct. It's a really good title. How long did it take for you to write the book? That is a fishing question. Now, that's something I would ask for one of the interviews I do for author awareness, but I'm not charging people to be on my show. I'm not charging them for services of any kind. Unless people want me to look at their book and give them editing and some kind of other tangible feedback that actually helps them, I'm not going to charge them for any kind of services like that. If I ask this question, it's because I'm genuinely curious. This is a fishing question because At no point does she actually have any interest in the book itself. She wants to know about my process. Not only is it a fishing question, like she pretty much says she doesn't know anything about the book. A real person who wants to market your book, who actually wants to help you, who actually wants to do something to have a tangible working relationship to be mutually beneficial, will actually do their homework. They actually do their due diligence on what the book is about, what the genre is, everything about it. They won't just look at the cover and judge from there. Now, don't get me wrong. We use the adage, don't judge a book by its cover, but we actually really do. It's actually kind of important that we do, because that actually is the first interaction that we have with a title, and that informs our decision of whether or not we're going to be interested in it. Because everybody is like that. But she knew nothing about the book, and now she's asking me about how long it took me to write the book. No. That's not right. That's not kosher. So here's my response. This is where I set the boundary. I say, this is where I'm shutting down this conversation. If you were good at what you claim to do, you would have done some research on my works and known what you're talking about before pitching me on your quote-unquote services. I will not be hiring you, and I will be reporting you as a scam. And that's exactly what I did. I reported her as a scam. Here's how she responded. So she responds with, well, I think you're getting it wrong here, because I only reached out to share my work with you and not to force you to purchase any of my service. Right, that's why you started pitching me on additional services when I shut you down the first time. That wasn't my intention. If you're not interested, it's fine. But if you're threatening me to report my account, I have no choice but to do the same here. So she's threatening to report my account, even though she's the one who reached out to me. And what? So this is how I respond. You're the one who rolled into my DMs, reached out to me unsolicited, trying to sell me your services. I set my boundary that I wasn't interested multiple times, and you kept trying to push a sale without knowing anything about what you wanted to promote. This right here, they will try to make you feel guilty. They'll try to make you feel bad for setting a boundary against a potential scam. And that is not right. And see, this is the thing that really upsets me. This is the kind of gaslighting that these kinds of scam accounts will do. They'll go in, and after you've set the boundary once, twice, however many times, or you start asking probing questions to find out what they know and how they're interested in and stuff like that. When they may make it known that they know nothing, when they make it known that they're trying to sell you on something that they can't really follow through on, or they can't meet the expectation, their promises are going to be bunk. When you set that boundary and let them know how you're going to be handling things, they fire back trying to make you feel guilty, trying to make you feel like you're the bad guy somehow, and they gaslight the shit out of you. And that kind of stuff really just gives me the red ass. So make sure you're protected, do your due diligence, and block these assholes.